on Good Morning El Paso, an officer-involved shooting in Las Cruces ends in a tense standoff between the suspect and police. New information this morning on what started it all. Also,
this is a difficult time for both of our families, but we will stand together and get through this together.
the fallout continues after two New York officers were brutally murdered, why police across the nation remain on high alert. And back here in the borderland, a big win for the Miners basketball team. The star player tells us why UTEP could soon become a powerhouse.
Live, where news comes first. From the Mesilla Valley and Las Cruces to El Paso and the borderland. This is ABC7's Good Morning El Paso.
Good morning, El Paso, Las Cruces, and Juarez. I'm Stephanie Valle. Hillary Florin is off this week. It is Tuesday morning. It is just after 6 o'clock in the morning. And let's get straight to Crystal Clyde for our forecast because we are under a first alert this morning.
Good morning, Stephanie, and good morning, everyone. We are inching closer to your Christmas day, and temperatures, they're taking that twist as we expected. Here's what we're at right now. We're at 48 in El Paso and 47 Las Cruces. Not a bad start to your day. 39 Alamogordo, 43 Deming. The interesting thing is, though, we're remaining under that first alert because those temperatures, they're going to remain constant through the entire day. We're going to barely warm up around the region, and instead of moving into the 60s like we have the past few days, we are looking at a forecast staying right in the 40s. We'll also be windy throughout your morning and then breezy throughout the rest of the day. Those winds making it feel cooler than it actually is. And tonight, very cold conditions, dropping into the 20s and at some of the higher elevations, even the teens. These are all reasons we have your storm track weather first alert in effect. We'll check in on those temperatures so you know exactly what you'll be sitting at later today, coming up in around 10 minutes.
All right, Crystal, thank you. And with the changes in weather, make sure you're staying safe this winter. Good morning, El Paso's Andrew J. Polk is live with more on our storm track weather coverage. Andrew.
Yeah, good morning, Stephanie. We're out here outside right now, and it is pretty cold out here this morning, particularly with the winds picking up off and on, making it very cold. Remember, it's not really going to get warmer than this today, like Crystal's been saying. But so it's important to, as you try to fire up those heaters, to stay warm, that you stay safe as well. Now, we've already seen a number of fires this season that fire officials say were caused by faulty or improperly used heaters. They forced families out of their homes in the cold of the night or even left them homeless. But there are things you can do to keep that from happening to you. Now, first of all, make sure heaters and fireplaces are used in well-ventilated areas and keep doors to those rooms open, and make sure the flue is open for fireplaces until the embers are cool. Now, also keep all flammable material away from space heaters and fireplaces, 3 feet or more at least. And also have your heaters and fireplaces inspected at least once a year to make sure they're clean and working properly. And of course, most of all, make sure you have a smoke detector. A lack of smoke detectors have been a part of some of the worst fires we've seen this season. And the El Paso Fire Department does have a free fire detector program. We've got more info on our website, KVIA.com. So now, as this weather continues to change your holiday season, we want you to send us your pictures. You're part of our Storm Track Weather team as well. Email your pictures to weather@KVIA.com or post them on our Facebook page and Twitter as well. So back out here live now outside. Again, the winds picking up off and on, making it very cold, and it's going to stay this cold like Crystal's been saying. So make sure to stay warm and keep safe as the weather changes. Back to you, Stephanie.
All right, Andrew, thank you. And just a reminder, if you are flying out of El Paso, make sure to check our travel section at KVIA.com. We have info on flights, road conditions, and local traffic camps. At last check, there were not any cancellations at El Paso International. The Miners are coming off a high this morning after a big win last night. The men's basketball team took the trophy at the Don Haskins Sun Bowl Invitational Tournament last night. We'll hear from the MVP of the tournament later in the newscast. And the countdown to this year's Sun Bowl continues. The Sun City welcomed the Duke Blue Devils yesterday. Duke has a few days to take in the Sun City before Saturday's big game.
I'm really excited to come and hang out and meet these passionate people here because, you know, based off that, it's a very passionate city, and it's really cool for us to be able to go into a new culture, a really new culture, and that's, you know, it's going to be really exciting because it's, again, a passionate culture and a very passionate city.
The team got a chance to see the folklorico performance and do a little dancing, listen to some mariachis. Duke's head coach, David Cutcliffe, also showed off his moves. We spoke with him about his team being away from home this Christmas, and he said the good thing is they're spending it with the families here in El Paso.
I think it's special that we're going to, as a football family, celebrate Christmas, but also with the Sun Bowl family. And them being willing to give us their time, that's not lost on us, that so many volunteers and so many people involved with the Sun Bowl and the city of El Paso, you're sharing your Christmas with us, and we certainly appreciate that.
Duke's opponent, the Arizona State Sun Devils, arrived today at 10 in the morning. The Sun Bowl is this Saturday at noon. Moving on now, new information this morning on an officer-involved shooting in Las Cruces that ended in a standoff. Authorities say it all began when an officer was responding to a report of a fight on the 1300 block of La Fonda. LCPD says the suspect took off in a stolen Ford pickup, and that's when police opened fire. The suspect got out of the truck and ran into a drainage ditch. The SWAT team was called out, and they then deployed gas canisters to get the man out of the pipes. Police say 3 hours later, the suspect came out holding a gun, and shots were fired. It's still unclear who fired their weapons, but we do know the suspect was taken into an ambulance. Police refused to comment on his condition. The names of the suspect and officers involved have yet to be released. The woman found dead in the desert near Anthony in October has been identified. The victim is 49-year-old Hilda Monge. The case has since turned into a homicide investigation. Details on how she was killed are now not being released, and there are no suspects. But at the time of her death, she was wearing a black sweatpants and black pullover T-shirt with the phrases, "Dream without fear and love without limits." Anyone who may have seen her in the Anthony area the night she was killed is being asked to call the El Paso County Sheriff's Office. This morning, police, community organizers, and politicians are calling for calm after the ambush killings of 2 New York City police officers. The killings are setting off a chain reaction across the country, with police departments warned to take every precaution. ABC's Elizabeth Herr has the latest developing now.
A brutal attack against 2 NYPD officers has police in New York and cities nationwide on guard.
When a guy in New York is gunned down and murdered in cold blood like that, we feel it deep in our heart here. It opens our eyes.
Police are cautious of copycats, with new numbers showing officers killed in the line of duty compared to last year, up by 23%, with those killed by firearms seeing a jump of 58%.
These officers had absolutely no chance, no awareness by all indications.
Shot dead at point-blank range, officers Wenjin Liu and Rafael Ramos, authorities say, were assassinated. Their families still reeling just days before Christmas.
This is a difficult time for both of our families. But we will stand together and get through this together.
Officer Liu got married 2 months ago. Officer Ramos leaves behind a wife and 2 sons, killed, police say, at the hands of 28-year-old Ishmael Brinsley. Seen in this surveillance video, his gun, police believe, was inside the plastic bag. Back in Brooklyn, hundreds continue to pay tribute, among them Eric Garner's daughter.
We're not anti-police. A life is a life. Your uniform doesn't, it doesn't categorize you. You're still a human being. You still had a life. You had a family. You had a wife and children.
And New York City's mayor is also asking for peace, asking that the protests be put on hold at least until after the officers' funerals. Elizabeth Herr, ABC News, New York.
At 6:09, taking a look at traffic. This is I-10 in Eastlake. Now we can see over there, no problems to report. Traffic pretty light out there at I-10 and Horizon in Far East El Paso. Not very many cars on the road this morning. And if you're barely heading out today to do some holiday shopping, you're not alone. But if you plan on shipping those gifts in time for Christmas, well, what have you been waiting for? You better hurry when the deadline is coming up. And that Christmas tree in your living room could pose a major fire hazard. Some ways to keep safe this holiday season. But first, we are under a first alert, and meteorologist Crystal Fry has your complete forecast. Crystal.
Don't be fooled by the 60s we saw yesterday. Grab the coat as you head out the door. We've got big changes in the forecast. We'll talk about what you can expect this afternoon after your break.
Thanks, Crystal. It's 6:10, and this is ABC 7, where news comes first.
Hello, this is Sergeant Jones with the 311th HHC in Los Angeles, California, and I wanted to send warm wishes and a Merry Christmas to my son, Sergeant Amante Carter, and his wife, Specialist Marquita Carter, and my grandbaby at Fort Bliss, Texas.